The strike now enters into its third week with workers demanding a two-digit pay increase. Among other things, the National Employers Association of South Africa, representing about 3,000 mainly small and medium businesses in the sector, is opposed to some of the workers' demands. Now, joining me now in studio is NEASA Chief Executive Officer Gerhard Papenfus. Gerhard, appreciate your time. I'm trying to clarify, try and clarify where we are with in terms of negotiations.
It is it's complex. I think the differences, even in the employer caucus, is a big thing. Where do you stand as employers? One employer body, NUMSA, is dealing with the 10% double-digit demand.
You're saying that's not feasible?
Well, it's not feasible. I get a mandate from small, medium-sized business. 2 weeks ago, I visited the whole country, spoke to these people, got a mandate from that, and clearly, the response that I got is you do not go beyond 8%. But what makes it even more complex is that, apart from that, we have a demand. The one demand that we've put on the table is that 8% is subject to the creation of an entry-level wage, lower entry-level wage for newcomers. Now, that's not affecting current employees. We want to open this market to newcomers, unexperienced people. Nobody currently get a job in this industry because it's simply too expensive. And the debate around what is expensive is a different debate. The market does what it can afford. You and I can have a debate on what is a rightful wage, what is a living wage, but the market responds in a way that suits them. We're not creating work, we're losing hundreds of thousands of work. And then secondly...
This is prior to the strike.
Oh, yeah, prior. NUMSA 3 months ago said at a bargaining conference that this industry lost 250,000 jobs in the last 5 years. The General Secretary of the Council said the industry lost 750,000 jobs over a longer period. This is an industry in decline. We cannot compete. Products that used to be manufactured here is now manufactured in China and India and all these places. Now, we know that unemployment is a huge crisis. And we need to address it. When government says to the private sector, you must create work, well, this is the private sector negotiating. And I believe we must take responsibility here to create an environment in which we can create work. And I cannot walk away from that responsibility. I cannot say, let's sort out this strike. Because what's happened in the past, unsustainable deals were made, and immediately thereafter, there were retrenchments. Now, I cannot go to bed tonight and say, I've done a deal, we settled the strike, and I tell employees, just retrench. We owe to South Africa a deal that is sustainable. The second thing that we demand is, one of the problems with South African collective bargaining is the rigidity of the system. How can employers, big business, sit in Johannesburg, make a deal with big trade unions, and then enforce that deal on a little guy in Kakamas in the Northern Cape? It's completely irrational. We want a flexible system. They are arguing there is an exemptions process. This thing is not working. So, this is the NEASA demand. CIFSA do not have the demand. They engaged in the 10% debate with nothing linked to it. I'm not going there, but this is making this issue extremely complex. This industry, there are approximately 12,000 to 14,000 employers in this industry. 90% of these employers are small, medium-sized employers, and that is the backbone of the economy.
And what you're saying is those SMEs can't afford a double-digit increase. It's as simple as that.
Can't. Now, what NUMSA is demanding for a 3-year deal is a 10% increase for 3 years. So they want us to agree now on an inflation plus 3.4% deal for 3 years into the future. It cannot happen. Well, it is suicide. Now, there might be employers that says, do the deal, and we simply mechanize and retrench. We say, no, we've got to take responsibility. If we're sitting with an unemployment figure, unofficial 37%, but it's actually much higher. A lot of people that's not claiming unemployment benefits are doing jobs that is not really sustainable. A car guard, that is just keeping yourself alive. If you look at that, unemployment is close to 50%. Youth unemployment is almost 60%. And we make a deal here that closes the door for the unemployed. We cannot do that. We must take responsibility for this. NUMSA says, no, it's not our business. This is not our business.
But it is their business. I mean,
well, it is. It is our business. We that sit at the negotiation table cannot only negotiate a deal for us. We must negotiate a deal for South Africa and for the unemployed. People aspire to have a job. This industry is very expensive. So this is the crux of this issue. Give 10%, give 10%, now the strike's over. I said, no, you can't do that. We just cannot do that.
Because in a couple of months' time you retrench a whole heap because it's just not financially sustainable.
In the Eastern Cape, in the border area, a couple of years ago, there were, that's an area with 5 million people. This industry was the biggest industry in that area. Today, there are 2,300 employees employed in that area in the metal industry. 2,300 out of a population of 5 million. I'm saying something is very, very wrong. And to do a deal here, just to continue that bloodshed is irresponsible. Now, for that, there's huge attack on us for that approach. But this is the approach. And we insist, we say we need to do this because if somebody is going to do a deal that does not address that issues now, we will not sign that deal. Because to say, let's go and discuss it somewhere else in a subcommittee, no, it's not going to happen. If it doesn't happen now, it will never happen. This is the issue.
Tell us a little bit about your relationship with CIFSA. Have there been any discussions there with you guys to try and come to a negotiation in terms of those figures?
Well, we were in the same caucus in these negotiations from the outset until about approximately 2 weeks ago. And then CIFSA broke ranks and went it alone in making this offer. And of course, now, what do we do now? What do we do now when they've made an offer which we cannot meet? Now, CIFSA said, just to go 1 yard back, of course the relationship is a bit tense. It is tense. But you know what, I wrote to CIFSA yesterday and I said, we need to come back to the same table. And because they said if NUMSA is not going to accept this offer, they will withdraw the offer. So we say, well, withdraw the offer and come back so that we discuss these issues. No,
NUMSA have not accepted 10%.
They haven't. But, it is wrong to go into negotiations to say a month before a strike, we will strike. And secondly, we demand a double digit, regardless of what the economy and what small business can afford. It is politically loaded slogans and a position adopted. There's a political agenda. There's a bigger political agenda that's currently playing out in these negotiations.
That's my next question. I mean, what percentage of this is a political agenda?
I believe it's very much of it. I believe NUMSA has a political agenda. They have political aspirations. And they want 10% this year, which will repeat, all of this will repeat a year from now, because this is an opportunity to attract a huge amount of attention, to recruit, to canvass support. So, of course, there's a political agenda behind this. This is not... collective bargaining and minimum wages, where people say that increases the wage of the underpaid. It's actually not doing that.
We've got 30 seconds. We're almost out of time. How are the businesses being affected on the ground?
Severely. Huge. Severely. Remember, this is on the back of a platinum strike, which already affected our businesses. We supplied to the mining industry. For 5 months, nothing happened. Now these businesses must negotiate a 10% deal. It is impossible. It is impossible.
And where to from here? Is there a light at the end of this dark tunnel?
There must be. There must be. There must be.
Must be. Well, Gerhard, good luck. Yeah, it's a tough situation. I'm talking to the Chief Executive, NEASA, Gerhard Papenfus, chatting to us, giving us some candid opinion on what's going on the ground in terms of negotiations in this NUMSA strike. We will continue to follow the strike and its effects on the business sector of this country. Not good signs coming out of those negotiating tables. Well, moving on.